All right. Doug Jones, Democrat Doug Jones in Alabama defeats Republican Roy Moore. Well, actually, what took place in Alabama, and I'm not talking about the election results, but the whole race and all the horrible things that took place there is a big reflection of us as a people, and it's not looking very good. That's what I want to talk to you about, as well as a little bit about the Christmas spirit. You're listening to the Alex Spicer Show. So I just want to share with you I want to share with you the insights that I have about what happened with the whole race in Alabama. I really felt like what was going on there is kind of this, it was like what's that word I'm looking for? Where it's like a miniaturized test where it all happens in kind of a vacuum, but it kind of represents everything else outside of it. And you know, it was just a very small area, just one state, where you have this man who is all these women come out, say he did all these things. There actually is credible evidence that proves that he was at least having some inappropriate feelings for women who are far below his age, not just below his age, but below the legal age of marriage and marriability. And so you have this happen, and then all these people start. There's a number of people who say, okay, well, we can't go with him. A lot of Republicans are saying, you know, let's dump Moore. And then there are a lot of other people who are just like, no, like, this isn't true. You know, we stand with him, yada, yada, yada. And aside from, I don't want to get into talking about, you know, whether you should, you know, go with things, when there's proof, whether there's not proof. There was proof, and as a whole, what took place, you know, after that happened, and then right before the election finally took place, the Republicans came back and tried to support him. This just goes to show, and the people actually also really like trying to fight for him. I really think Roy Moore should have lost by a lot more. But I also understand that, you know, the people may have not wanted to vote for Doug Jones because he stands for a lot of things that they disagree with a lot, that actually are not good for our country, and that is true. But here's the real problem. You see what took place. You have two options, two candidates. They're not very good. But you have Roy Moore, who's definitely not a very good example of good moral character. And then you have people, it was like what happened there was like a miniaturized version of what happened in the presidential race last year. And you had two crappy candidates, you had two crappy options, and people try to choose the lesser of two evils. Like, I'm tired of that being what we have in America. That all we have are really to choose from are two major parties. Both of them are corrupt, and both of them very much just suck. I mean it. We need better options. When America was founded, when the Constitution was put into place, there was a big concern by the founding fathers about who would get elected. They wanted to make sure that those who were elected were going to be good, moral people. They were going to have public virtue, meaning they were selfless and they were upright. There was a lot of concerns about what would happen to public office, especially as it became more prestigious, because they didn't want it to be prestigious. They wanted it to be an honor to be in that place, to serve the people, not for fame, not as a way to obtain money. And that's what it's been used for. A lot of politicians go into this, though they may not make a ton of money through the wages they obtain for their work. There are a lot of sneaky opportunities that exist there for them to obtain more and more money. The Clintons came into the White House with not much money. They left super rich, basically. And since then, they've still been very rich by being involved in politics because there's a lot of way to obtain money. Same with the Obamas. Same with a lot of other people, not just presidents, but also people in Congress, in the Senate, in the House of Representatives. So what we are facing today in America is that we have two parties, and both parties are corrupt. And now, I've said this before, and I think this is very, very true. the progressive left, the Democratic Party, is very advanced, very far in progressive ideology. Their ideas are very detrimental and evil and wrong for the country. And if we would have gone back 10, 20 years ago, they were still very much that same way, but it was dampened a lot because they still felt bound by a lot of moral expectations upon the people. That the traditional voter and the people in general had a sense of what was right and wrong. And a lot of that was influenced by religion. But you have the Republican Party, which is now doing the same thing as the Democratic Party. But they are like the Democratic Party 10, 20 years ago. They're trying to do basically the same things, but they still feel a little bit, a little hesitant to be full-fledged, immoral, and wrong at all times. They try to feign being moral when a lot of the times, like for example with Roy Moore, you have really crappy candidates. You have really bad options, and a lot of things they push forward. They'll pretend that they're gonna do what's right for the people, and then they'll just cave last second. They'll do things. They'll try to replace Obamacare with another crappy version of it. The American people need something far better, and what this is showing for us today is that we are lacking character, because who we vote into office is a reflection of who we are as a people. There was a number of worries, like I said before, the Founding Fathers had about those who get elected. They worried about these people also having experience and being wise. Now, there's a lot of people that are running for office, and they're not quite winning yet, but they may win very soon, who don't have a lot of experience, who aren't really wise. They're just being voted in because they're popular, because they represent some sexual minority, right? For example, there was I think it was a transgender person running in Utah, or they're going to run for the next election against, I think it was Orrin Hatch. Either way, we are facing a crisis, because if we do not have a moral compass, then we have nothing left to stand on. That is what worries me the most. And you have to excuse me, I'm a little bit congested. I'm not trying to sound emotional. I really just am congested. There is actually something I want to read to you. And you see these books back here if you're watching the video. There's a bunch of books behind me and stuff. There's a lot more, and just so you know, those aren't just for looks. I actually read those. I go through them. They have a lot of good information. And there's this book called The 5,000-Year Leap, which everyone should read. And in it, there's a quote I want to share with you that the author had pointed out, and it says that Samuel Adams pointed out a sobering fact concerning our political survival as a free people when he said, quote, "But neither the wisest constitution nor the wisest laws will secure the liberty and happiness of a people whose manners are universally corrupt. He, therefore, is the truest friend to the liberty of his country who tries most to promote its virtue, and who, so far as his power and influence extend, will not suffer a man to be chosen into any office of power and trust who is not a wise and virtuous man." It's vital that we maintain our moral principles, what is correct. Things may deviate here and there because between groups that for the most part agree, but we have to look over those differences between those slight nuances and go down to the principles. We may view principles slightly differently, but what are the principles of morality? What should we follow? And America cannot continue to be great, cannot continue to thrive and succeed if we are going to be immoral, if we're going to vote for people who are immoral. And you'll notice that the pattern that happens is anytime you vote someone who is immoral into office, you end up giving more license to the people to act immorally themselves. As he says here, whose manners have become corrupt. We are becoming more and more corrupt. We no longer see truth from error very well anymore. We can't even figure out what human life is anymore. The world, world really is on fire, morally and spiritually speaking. You cannot succeed. You cannot have true liberty and freedom if you cannot maintain the spiritual, the moral principles, these eternal principles that allow us to grow. Now, speaking of about Christmas, I want to talk a little bit about Christmas, and I've been thinking a lot about the true meaning of Christmas, because this time of year has been a struggle for my family and I, financially speaking, and there's always a rush to want to buy presents, to get presents for everyone. And we have 3 kids. We have 3 little boys, and it's as a parent, especially when your kids are young, you just want everything for them. I'll probably feel this way as I get older, but I'm not there yet. But you want everything for them. You want to be able to usually give them everything that they want. Essentially, I mean, you want them to be happy. You want that smile on their face. And as I've been thinking about how, okay, we're not really gonna have the money to get all the things we're really thinking about, I've been realizing more and more and thinking more about my upbringing, because my upbringing was pretty poor, that we really are, as a culture, forgetting the true meaning of Christmas. And people say that every year, but then they still fall into the same cultural behaviors that prove that the message of it's not really about buying people gifts, it's completely lost on them. Because what they do speaks so loud, we can't hear what they're saying anymore. And what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to do and show, is that Christmas really is about love. It's about each other. There are people who are far worse than I. As we have been struggling, it's just this time period, which we know will only last for so long, and things will get much better. I have been carrying around money in my wallet. I have some $1 bills, like 20 of them or something, and that money was meant to be used primarily for a date night for my wife and I sometime. But as I've been going, to stores or wherever else I go, there's always people begging. There's always people out in the cold seeking for help. And I've been giving away this money, which for my wife and I means a lot, because we don't get to go out very often. We don't get to find babysitters very much. And when we do, we want to be able to go somewhere, have a little bit of money to spend. And so this money does mean a lot to us. However, I know that there are people who need a lot more, who have actual needs rather than wants. We want to go out and have a good time, but we can do that anywhere else. We don't have a need to spend money. These people need support. So I've been giving it away, and at first I worried for a split second as I thought about doing this, as I followed these feelings to reach out and help someone else. For a split second, I worried that maybe I shouldn't do this because I'm going to run out of all my cash, and then I'll be at a disadvantage. But then that quickly went away as I realized these people are at a disadvantage. There are so many people at a disadvantage. The point of Christmas is love. It is to show that the greatest gift that we have is each other. To serve each other, to do good for each other. You can't take the religion out of Christmas. And once you do, the true message of Christmas gets lost. And the true message of Christmas is that God sent his son to earth as the greatest sign of love towards us. That his son came to earth so that he could show us how to live, how to be better. He could die for us. He could help us become better people. Everything that story is about love. And if we take Christ out of Christmas, even if you're not religious, you have to know the real story, the real meaning behind it, because then we just get caught up in commercialism. And we have to remember that Christmas is about love. It's about the giving the gift of family, of each other. I truly believe that we are all one giant eternal family. I believe every single one of us, every person on earth is part of this grand giant family. God being the father of all of us. And for him to show us that as a father, he sends someone whom he loves very much, his son, to help us out, shows to me that I can use some of what I have, send it to someone else, give it to someone else, to show them that I love them, that I care about them. I am very limited. I'm a human being. I'm very limited by what I can do. But I'm not limited by what I can think and what I can feel. I can't give everything away. I don't have everything. I don't have all the money in the world. I'm not the richest person in the world. But I have a little bit of something. I have crumbs, so to speak. And I can scatter my crumbs to those who don't have any. This Christmas, just remember that if you want to make a difference, reach out to someone in need. Help other people. Express love to them. Forget about the buying of things. And remember the doing of things. That's what really matters. Thank you for listening to the Alex Spicer Show. If you liked what you heard, click the like button. Also, subscribe. You know, there's really no reason not to subscribe. This is like the best channel ever. We're all about faith, family, and freedom here. And if you believe that those things are important, or maybe you wonder, listen in, because you're going to learn why. This is the only way we can defend freedom. We need to stand for faith and family and freedom all together at one time. Anyways, live free until next time.